All right, guys, I have Felipe from LA Lot right here. He's here in the arena. Welcome to the podcast, Felipe.
Hey, thanks, bro. Oh, thanks, bro.
Thank you for coming. Just wanted to talk to you about, your kind of work. I know there's a lot of my construction kind of goes hand in hand with the ADU world. So,
Yeah.
what kind of work do you specialize in? And what city?
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for having me, bro. So my work, I mostly just do plans and permits. So I did school. I went to USC. I did school like in architecture and civil engineering. Um, and like kind of what I focused on really was uh after I left school was I went in and I like started working in different construction companies. After that, I kind of went into the city. I started working as a plan checker. I got really, really good at like learning how to plan check, especially residential buildings, right? One of the main reasons that they hired me was to meet that influx of ADU projects. Um, so, and my bad, and I'll get to your question, bro. Just to give some quick background. Um, like my I guess my focus really was residential projects, right? So when I left the city and started my own company, that's what I really wanted to focus on. So right now we're really focused on residential projects, anything from like adding a couple square feet to your house to building a new ADU to like smaller multifamilies, right? And using obviously the new laws like the ADU laws, the SB9 laws to like maximize density and maximize square footage, primarily in the city of LA. Yeah.
And the laws are always changing. So, it's kind of, for us builders and contractors, it's hard, to keep up with the new laws, the new zoning requirements, the new inspectors, the plan checkers. I know some cities that I turn down projects. Like, there's no way if they call me for a project in that city, I'm passing it up, dude, because I've had really bad experience in some cities, and it's really frustrating as a builder because there's a lot of problems in construction already. The last thing you want to do is a project being delayed because of the city, like the DMV. Like, they're slow, and it's like, dude, I go to cities and they still have the glass up, and it's like, dude, COVID already passed. Like, China already built like 10 cities, and I'm trying to build a pool. Like, let me build a pool. So there's a lot of like paperwork, and it's not about not doing paperwork, but it's like, tell us how you want it so we can do it that way and keep it consistent, so we can all just build and keep moving, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I think one thing I would say about that, given my experience working like at the city, is that it's still a mess, bro. Like even when I was working there, it's so it's so subjective to the person that you get. It's not linear, right?
Yeah.
One person can tell you this looks good, and then the other person will tell you you got to start over, and it's
Yes.
like
What mood?
what?
What mood they're
Or do
in?
you? Yeah, it's like what mood and how they interpret the code. Unfortunately, like sometimes the code leaves a lot of room for interpretation. I wish it was more like black and white, and this is right and this is wrong. But no, sometimes like you gotta read and like I read between the lines, right? And unfortunately, like even as a city and like as a former city plan checker, I'm telling you this, like it it really is about the person that you get sometimes. Um, yeah, like I'm with you, right? Like I mostly focus in city of LA, and it hurts me to say no to projects in the county or projects, that look kind of even lucrative,
Mhm.
but that I know at the end of the day it's gonna be a headache. It's gonna ruin my peace, and I'm just not gonna feel comfortable doing it. I'm not gonna put 110% because I already like, I already see the headache, right?
I always see it like you and your customer are going into a marriage for 6 months or a year. You guys already agreed on the price. The two parties are happy,
Yeah.
and the city comes in, we're right between like a wrecking ball, dude. Like, the third wheel, like, let me mess this up, and that's not always the case, but it does happen, and it's a lot of the times, like you say, it's depending on the person you're talking to. I've had a project where I went to the city and it was two different departments. So I went to one first. And dude, it took me like 6 months to get this permit. I get the permit. So when it's time to pay, I don't know their protocol. He goes, go take this check to this other department. And then I go to the other department, and the person's there for some reason starts getting into a pissing match with the other guy. And then he tries to send me back. He goes, no, you need to go back because they know already. We need this special stamp. And I'm like, bro, call him on the phone. Like, I'm not going to go in line again. And like, come on, guys. Like,
Get it together.
get it together. And they had like a pissing match, dude. And I'm in the middle. My client's in the middle because he's been waiting 6 months. But it's like, dude, like, at the end of the day, we're trying to build something. You guys are getting paid. Get your check. Like, here's the money. Like, just let us work,
Yeah.
So your kind of profession, I see that you focus on the whole design, the permitting, but you're not doing the actual build,
Correct.
which is very smart of you. Because a lot of people get the idea, well, why don't we just do the builds as well? And that's a whole different animal.
I think the word ADU, SB9, construction, like that's like in a lot of people's head that equals money, right? And I see a lot of people like I'm not, and I don't want to burn myself because like if I do it in the future, right? But I see a lot of people like, okay, cool, let's start off with like design, and then a couple months later you start seeing them like build. You know what? That's awesome. Like more power to you. Do it. And like good job, and like keep going. Like I'm not bringing you down, but at the same time, I also see people doing it and then failing very hard, or like ADU SB9 is such a like a there's such buzzwords that like they take on more than they could like they bite more than they could chew, and they just come crashing down, right? Like I've heard so many stories of, and they you can see them on the news. You'll see them on Instagram. You'll see them on the news. KTLA5, everywhere. Oh, company ADU, company goes bankrupt and leaves 50 client or 50 people like without a home, and hundreds of thousands lost or millions lost because they couldn't fulfill, or they just like were scammers, blah blah blah. Right? You start seeing that and you're like, whoa, like people are out there, and you look, some of them, and I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth, maybe some of them ran into like a wall, but like I think that's when like you really need to figure out like what your limits are, you know like don't buy more than you could chew. um be ethical, bro. Like how crazy it is for us to say,
Yeah.
how crazy it is for us to say like, hey, if you're gonna do a job, be ethical.
Mhm.
Like that should just be like a
Natural.
thing. Not even have to even say it,
Mhm.
dude. Like when I was at the city, I saw, man, I'll tell you about this one guy. I'm not gonna say his name. I don't want to burn him, but this guy, we would see him. And we would see, yeah, you'll know who it is, but you would see him getting fired almost at least once a month in front of us by his client.
A lot of the times it's an accident for the client to get a contractor like that, but a lot of the times they attract each other.
Oh,
Because if the client wants the cheapest,
yeah.
they come in with the free design. Like I have clients tell me sometimes, Danny, I'm getting other bids from, other companies. I'm not gonna say who. And they said they can do a free design. And I always tell my clients, look, a free design is a free waste of time.
Oh,
Because they're gonna give you a 3D mock-up, no construction documents, no finished material, no grading, no. What if you can't build it with the city? Like we're just playing
what
at
if
this
it's on a
point.
hillside?
We're just playing at this point, and I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. Y con eso, okay, Danny, send your designer. My designers that I have, I have a couple designers that I work with. They're at 7,000, 10,000, 20,000, 40,000 for design. For the big projects, and that's what they gotta pay. If you want it done right, you want it done correctly, and you don't want to waste time, it is in your best interest to pay the design fee.
Yeah.
And people, I see them get stuck on this free design. Free design is like, it's a free waste of time. That's what it is. They're going to give you a half ass design that only they can figure out how to build, because we're not going to come in and, it just looks pretty, but what are the docs? So a lot of the times those clients cut themselves out. And, we only deal with the clients that value their time, value their money. My clients tell me, dude, they go, Danny, the most expensive contractor? And I go, who? And he goes, I think he's gonna say me, right? He goes, the wrong one. He goes, we picked you because we know you're the right one, even though you're more expensive. So they know going cheap. This is my kind of client. They know that they're going cheap is gonna cost them more because they're gonna mess up on the job. They're not gonna be able to finish it. They're gonna string you along, because they don't have the money for the material. It's a bad experience for a lot of homeowners. And unfortunately, I was talking about this the other day that homeowners do big construction, like an ADU, right? You're only going to do it once or twice in your lifetime.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times people take advantage of that the homeowner doesn't know any better. And they get, they're not ethical, and the contractor takes advantage of that. And, there's a lot of people out here playing contractor. They don't pay their guys correctly. They don't have the right insurances. I've had customers that say, well, the other contractor said that I should pull the permit because it's easier. And I was like, you're going to pull the permit, you're going to carry all the liability. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, if somebody gets hurt on your job, they're going to come after you, and they're going to come out. Like, if you're building pools without a pool license, bro, come on. Like, and you're telling the homeowner to pull the permits, like, you get your license, do it correct, and then you're at that point to do that kind of work,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, in the beginning you're gonna have to do, you're not gonna be straight as an arrow, but I always tell everybody, as soon as you can get straight and get your stuff in order, it's in your best interest, to get your licenses and get everything in order, because at the end of the day, it's like a speeding, when you get caught, you can't go like, oh, well, so and so, they're doing it for so long and they never got caught. Yeah, but when it's you have to be a responsible businessman.
What about the people that go with the other guy and then are like, Danny, but we need you now. Like, can you fix this?
Dude, I had a guy, and this is recent. I had a guy, this is like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
We did a bid for it was $500,000. He signs the contract. And then we're like a week out to start his job. And then I get a text from him. He goes, Danny, you know what? I'm sorry, but I decided to go with the GC to do a pool and everything, because his GC recommended the other guy, whatever. Um, I already have a signed contract. It's a pretty big job, but I'm not going to force anybody to work with me, right? At that point, I'm like, all right, dude, whatever's happening. Hey, no problem. If you're going to get another contractor, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Sorry it didn't work out. Keep us in mind for the future. People were like, no, you already got a signed contract. You got to charge them for, your scheduling. And I was like, nah, dude, like, it is what it is. If somebody doesn't work with you, they don't have to. So we ended up parting ways good, right? And the architect told me, she goes, dude, it wasn't meant to be. Like, if he didn't go with you, it wasn't meant to be. 6 months later, he calls me on Memorial Day, right after Memorial Day. He goes, Danny, can we talk about this project? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, my contractor's not. Like, my contractor lives like somewhere down in LA. He only comes once a week. He just comes and shoots videos for Instagram, but doesn't do any work. Horrible, dude. Horrible. Like, the job is, there's no progress. So I told him, like, hey, dude, like, I can't pick this job up. I can't pick this job up at the same price. And I calculated everything. It was going to be like $60,000 more on the original contract to even step in, right?
Because you have to demo some of the bad work.
I have to demo, and I have to go back and talk to the inspectors and do all, so we, at the end of the day, it's a mistake. We all make mistakes, right? It's nothing against him, or I'm not talking bad about him. It's just he put himself in a predicament, and they're going to try to finish the job. We didn't end up going back, but it happens, right? And that's the wild, wild west over here in California, right? And there's a lot of good contractors. There's a lot of bad ones. You just have to be on the good side, be ethical. Like you said, be ethical, right? With your clients. Dude, there's so many projects that I've done that sometimes I come out of pocket, but I finish.
Yeah.
I complete them. Like I never leave a job. Even if I know that clients, like one of those clients, I'm still gonna finish. I'm still gonna make sure everything's done on the contract. And at the end of the day, I want to make sure that I don't leave any job undone. And that's why I think we've been blessed because just being ethical, even though it hurts,
Yeah.
sometimes your
Your
pocket.
pocket.
And there's customers sometimes that take advantage, but at the end of the day, you just gotta chalk it up as a cost of doing business
Yeah.
and keep moving, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, I guess, like, talking about, like, it hurting your pocket, right? Like, my business is a little different because, like, you guys are, like, actually doing the work. You guys are, like, laying brick, laying concrete, cement, plaster, whatever, right? Like, you guys are, like, getting in there. Ours is, it's just paperwork and working on the computer. Um, but it's still, like, a lot of hours invested. And that's, like, I think, like, a lot of people don't understand, like, when, it going back to the free design, like, there's how can I give something for free?
That used to
No,
be the standard a couple of years ago. People
that's
would not. They'll be
crazy.
like, "What do you mean you're gonna charge me to come out and give me a design? I'm gonna give you the work. There's no guarantee you're gonna give me the work. What if the designer spends 6, 10 hours? Who's paying for that? It's in your best interest to pay because it's
Exactly.
for your home. You want attention to detail. You want to make sure that you don't get a cookie cutter plan. So a lot of landscape guys tell me all the time in the group, they're like, Danny, how do you charge for design? Well, I just tell them there's a fucking
You
price. Like,
Yeah.
there's no, like, when I tell them, I don't question it. I'm like, okay, I go take a couple pictures. I don't measure. I go, okay, I'm gonna let my designer know to contact you and she's gonna give you a price. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah, it has to be like that because and and I'm glad, like, I think things are shifting a little bit now. I'm kind of starting to see it. Unless you're, like, kind of new to this. I'm not even saying that I've been in this industry for a long time, but
How long have you been doing it?
almost 3 years. Almost 3 years
Five.
on my own. Yeah. So, like,
We're babies
or
still.
yeah, we're still, like, kind of getting there, right? Um, but like, I understand, right? If most of my work is on the computer, is answering phone calls, being in the city, and, whatever, I'm working 10, 12 hours, and I have to dedicate 3 or 4 hours to go out to your site, do some investigation on your property, you know, I'm gonna stop working on all these other projects, doing all these other things to push all these other projects forward to potentially maybe getting a job. Like, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Doesn't add up. So yeah, like, I started, charging for, just to go out there and meet with you. And I don't even offer that service as, like, 100% every time. It's like I'll do an analysis of the property and be like, I, you know, let's get on a phone call. Let's get on a Zoom call. 10 minutes. It won't cost you anything. Won't cost me anything. But sometimes, like, people really want to meet you. They really want you to see the site. Fine. Okay, let's go. I'll go do it. If I think it's a
Potential.
potential project, and let's hot.
Well, I feel like what you're doing with your social media, your personal branding is great because you're already adding value to yourself. So it's an easier sell, right? If I call you for my project and you're telling me, all right, Danny, it's gonna be 150 or 250 just to go show up or whatever it is, I already seen you, I already seen what you do, so I already see value in that because I already know you through your Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's really good what you're doing with your Instagram. You gotta keep it up, and that's why I tell people like that personal branding. It's important, because
Yeah.
if you're not seen, you don't exist.
Correct.
So if you're over there putting your videos and all that, and the value I see is when you go. I used to work for the city, so I'm like, dude, like that's perfect. He already knows what triggers them, what not to put on the plan, what's gonna be delayed. So you have that
Yeah.
valuable experience that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah. I think Personal branding is very important.
Have you seen a
Yeah.
difference with like your
Oh,
videos?
100%. Yeah, like I think I don't know if you told me, Bernie, or who I forget who told me, right? It's not about you being the best, it's about you being the best known, right? And so I'm not claiming I'm the best you know, city consultant designer, right? I'm just like, one of the better knowns right now.
Mhm.
Because like I put myself out there, because even though sometimes I'm insecure about myself because of this, because of that, I'm like, I rather get a hateful comment, right? That sometimes it's not a lot, right? The, not inviting anybody to give me any hate comments,
I don't know. For some
but
reason, my Instagrams, it's a lot of haters there. But
fuck, man. But it's all good. It's good for the algorithm.
no, and it's good that like you said, you're uncomfortable. Like when I started doing the videos, I was very self conscious about my voice because I feel like I'm underwater or something, right? My voice is like a little, and I remember when I started, somebody was like, "That's Gabe from the Nelk Boys" or some shit.
No.
And then I look him up, and I'm like, bro, I was like, come on, bro. So they were saying that I look like some guy, Gabe or something from the Nelk Boys. And then I was like, fuck, he kind of does look a little bit like me, like, fuck. But, people are going to talk. People are going to hate. At the end of the day, you're building your brand. You're working towards something, and there's always.
Kid is getting fed. You know what
Correct.
I mean? Like more important, like right, like
That's why this podcast is the arena, because at the end of the day, people are going to judge us, but they're on the stands. We're in the arena, right? We're trying to make shit happen. We're trying to, start an Instagram, start a TikTok, start a business. We're actually swinging. Trying to do something with ourselves in the short time that we have. And you're always gonna have people criticizing. And like when I started wearing these shirts, I had a family member, dude, tell me one time. He goes, "Ya te crees gabacho." He goes, "We don't dress like that." And I told him, I was like, "Don't ever say that in front of your kid." No, okay, I'm just playing. I was like, "No, you're not." I was like, I was like, "No, you're not." It's like, you never say that in front of your kids. Don't ever let them hear you talk like that. Because if anybody dresses like that, I can dress like that.
Yeah.
Nobody's better than anybody. We're all here equal. We're all here the same. We all have the same opportunity to thrive and to do business, and to do business on a high level. We're no longer the help. We're here to, we're changing industries. We're, rising with our businesses and companies and ventures. And, we're only getting better day by day. You can't be saying those kinds of things. So it's all in the mindset, and I didn't care. As soon as I was a supervisor, I went and bought my own shirts like this. And I was dressing up like this, clean shoes, clean pants, wasn't getting dirty. So now my kids see me come home from work with my laptop, with my, everything professional, and representation matters.
Yeah.
So, it's very important.
Yeah. No, I think I'm still trying to get out of the college kid phase, because sometimes I'm just wearing a shirt and sneakers. But no, I'm like, like I think when I started doing Instagram, for sure, bro, like I was looking at your videos, I was looking at Eric's videos, like, like anybody that was like kind of influential in like the construction and like, and in the construction, scene, especially particularly in LA, right?
Who was doing videos? Like, who was really doing videos? Like,
I don't know. Like,
because when I started, I feel like there was like Albert Preciado. He does real estate. I don't know if you guys seen that guy.
Maybe
There was a couple guys I feel like that were doing videos and stuff.
Ty Lopez.
Ty Lopez, one of the original, I call him the guru gangsters. Yeah, there was a lot of other. There was a few people, but I feel like it's great, dude.
But not enough raza, dude.
Not enough raza.
No.
Yeah,
and so when I saw you, or like all the other guys I mentioned, right? Like
I've seen Eric's. He's good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's good, right? Like I'm like, fuck, like I want to align myself like that, right? Maybe I'm not there right now, but I need to get out of this mold, right? Because a lot of people, nobody I knew did social media. Maybe my sister who posts a bunch of pictures, you know what I mean? But
TikTok dancing,
it's cool. But and nobody else like did it. And I would see like YouTube videos, I would see like shorts, Instagram reels, and I'm like, there has to be a formula to this, you know. Like I did engineering school, and I'm like,
Your brain was
my
like,
brain was like, there's something here for them to be having this many views. Like,
and I'm over there just talking shit on camera. Like I'm not even thinking about it.
but like that's cool. Like you got a lot of charisma. You got it. Like it feels very natural to you. Like I feel like for me, I feel like honestly, I'm a little bit more shy. But I'm starting to break away from that because I'm like I can't be shy if I'm gonna if I want to make money, right?
You know what's funny is that actually me watching Vivid Landscape, which I don't know why he would name his company Vivid, but dude, I remember him watching Vivid Landscape, and I know him. You know, we talked and stuff, and his camera guy too did some stuff for me. Vivid, I remember Vivid, and he was like, "This is Vivid Landscape" and stuff like that, and I will see him on camera, like very nice and edited. That kind of inspired me too. Like, you know what? He's doing videos. I mean, our companies are pretty much the same, you know,
Right.
and he's doing kind of the same stuff. So that's, you know, I'm going to, so it's very important because we're visual people,
Yeah.
we're visual animals. You see somebody do it and then you can see yourself doing it. So, you know, shout out to Vivid because he was one of the first guys that inspired me too to start doing my videos, you know? So I'm grateful. I'm super happy because I get a lot of people telling me like, "Oh, Danny, I started doing this, and I'm started doing that." So it's just, you know, snowballing into a great thing. And sometimes people tell me, "Oh, Dan," or sometimes people go and hate on other people's videos, like, "Oh, you're trying to be Danny or trying to be the maestro." But I'm like, dude, like nothing is new under the sun. Like everybody copies everybody somehow,
Yeah.
you know. So I see it as a good thing that they're doing videos. I don't care if they use the same voice, Adam or whatever. You know, he lost $10,000 on a job or whatever. But you know, to me, it's being creative, making your own spin on it. You know, it can be the same template, but just put your own little spin on it, and
It's
that's
also
fine.
flattering, no? Like
It is,
it's like, hey,
and it makes us think and push the envelope. Like, okay,
now
everybody's doing this now. How are we gonna elevate? Because when I share a lot of stuff on my videos, I share a lot of free game. So now a lot of companies are doing everything I say on the videos, and it's costing me actually money to acquire more customers because now they're catching up on everything I do. So it's only making me a better business person. Because somebody might say, Danny, that's dumb. You're teaching them to compete against you. My kids do jujitsu. And at the end of the class, their jujitsu teacher always has like a speech. And for some reason that day I was there in the afternoon, and he talked about how jiu-jitsu grew in Brazil. And he said that when jiu-jitsu started, a lot of people wouldn't tell people about their stuff. Like they would gatekeep the moves and all that, right? But it started really growing in Brazil, really strong, when they were teaching each other. If I go for your arm, you should do this. So then now that guy was going for his arm. The other guy already knew what to do. Same thing. If I'm telling you in business, you should do this, you're making me think like, okay, he's going to do this. What am I going to do to counter that, to be better? So same thing in jiu-jitsu, you know, they teach each other the moves, the counters, and it's only making them better because now they know that guy's going to counter with that. Now they're thinking, how am I going to do? What am I going to do next? Same thing in business. The more you teach people your things, the more you're going to think, okay, how can I improve now? How can I get better? Because now everybody's driving around on a wrapped Tesla, or everybody's doing this, you know, or everybody's doing videos. So now what am I going to do next? So it's only making everybody better.
yeah.
That's how I see it.
No, 100%. Y para todos sale el sol. You know what I mean? Like para todos sale el sol. Um, I think I guess the reason why I also share like a lot on social media, yeah, and people are telling me, hey, maybe you should like not share this and put a master class together and like do this and like honestly, it does encourage me to do something like that, and that's actually something that me and Bernie are kind of working on right now, because it's hard to also put everything I know in like a minute or a minute and a half video, right?
Yes,
But
it's dude.
but it's like
You gotta value your
I
time.
got yeah,
And you're
I also value my time, but I'm also um like I think sharing what you know kind of helps people trust you, right? Helps them understand that you're like a local expert, right? And that's really valuable, I think, for both our businesses, right? Also I think about like school, right? Like ever since I was in elementary, through middle school, through high school, through college, I didn't do it all on my own. Like I had either, I mean, more than just my teachers, right? I had my classmates that would help me. I had like tutors, that I would go to like in school, right? And even people like I just like, we just all kind of helped each other, right? And then when I
community.
was, yeah, community, right? Like building community is like so important. And then when I was at USC, like a community was really the only reason why I graduated, right? I'm not saying that I'm
Yeah.
dumb or anything. Like, obviously, to get there, like, I needed to be, somewhat, have some kind of intellect. But when I reached a certain point, right, honestly, USC was really, really hard. And the only way I was able to like really get through it was to have my other classmates, really teach me or fill in the holes that that were missing like in my brain. Um, so now like when I put things out like on social media, I'm like, you know what? Hopefully this helps the new person coming in, or hopefully this helps a new person that's starting their business similar to mine, right? Like, and if you have questions, reach out to me. Like sometimes I can't get back to you as soon as
Yeah.
possible, or like I forget to look at my DMs or my emails, or like life is happening and like I'm focused on fulfilling for my clients, but I do my best, bro. Like it's
And a lot of people don't understand that, like you said, community is everything. Like in our group of entrepreneurs, we do a live call once a week. And sometimes there's guys that are ready to throw the towel. Like, no, dude, this and that. And we just like encourage them, like, hey, dude, I was just in that situation a month ago. And, people always ask me too, like, Danny, do you ever feel like quitting? I'm like, bro, once a week. Like, business gets to you. It's tough. Family, you're trying to juggle everything. So it's good to be in that circle, in that group of other entrepreneurs because you're encouraging each other, and sometimes you're down and sometimes they're up so they can bring you up, so I feel like that's important. You can't do it yourself. People forget we're community based. Unfortunately, in this country, we are taught a lot about like capitalism and get money, get that nice car, but then you forget about what really matters, right? Family, your community, and it's a lot of selfishness. But you can't be great by yourself. That's what people forget.
yeah.
Like all the great people in history had really good people around them. You can only do so much by yourself. And that's what, people forget. When I was starting, I had a lot of people help me out. And there's a saying, right? The worst enemy of a Mexican is another Mexican. I don't like that saying because I always say I've had a lot of Mexican people help me along my way.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was, one or two that were really bad, but for those one, two, there was 10 other people that will give you their last money, their last food, that would just help you from their kindness of their heart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now with everything going on, it kind of like makes sense a little bit, but there's always gonna be people like that. There's always gonna be, you know, people that are looking out for their self interest, and you got to think about the community. You got to think about all of us together, right? What's best for all of us, and that's what I feel like a lot of people forget. They're on that self um self preservation. Like, yeah, it's not convenient for me to talk about issues,
Is that why you
political.
started your podcast?
Yeah, yeah, that's why I started the podcast because there's a lot of bad stuff out there. There's a lot of bad propaganda. There's a lot of misguided youth. There's a lot of confused grown-ups. There's a lot of big adults that are confused, dude. And it's like, if I can say, what I think and speak my truth, hopefully that helps people because, right now we're going through a really, really tough situation. My parents didn't teach me to hate anybody. They told me to respect everybody, to love everybody, to help everybody. So, that's who I listen to. That's who plays me, right? That's who moves me in the board of life, chess, right? I'm not gonna have another man tell me to hate another man. And that's what I'm seeing right now. There's a group of people telling you these people are bad, these people are evil, these people are taking your money, these people are this. And then there's a lot of people getting taught that and listening to these guys. Dude, I wouldn't even kick it with them or what. Why would I listen to these guys that tell me to hate black people, white people, brown people, immigrants? Why am I gonna listen to you? Like, my parents didn't teach me that.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair point. I think you using your voice, right? Because I see a lot of people follow you, a lot of people listen to what you say, like a lot of people align with what you say. Um and I think and that's a good reason why I'm here. Like, I like talking to you, I like hearing your perspectives too. Um and I align actually with a lot of the things you say, right? Because I've had friends, right, when like these whole like ice raids started happening that were like, they're not from the areas that were, like we're
They're only going after the criminals.
and yeah, they're only going after the criminals. Are you sure that's going on over there? What's really going on over there? What?
Yeah.
Like, some people are so detached of what's actually happening because they're not in these areas, right? Because maybe
It's not that
it's
they're
not
detached, dude. It's not in their best interest.
someone in the best interest.
That's what it is. They don't want to fuck up their money. They don't want to fuck up their bag. And that's sad. It's just a few bad hombres.
And I
Few,
think it's important to also, yeah, yeah, for real. Like,
yeah, bad
it's
apples.
important
Bad oranges. None
to
of that.
to also talk to people that you disagree with, right? Up to a certain point, right?
It
If
gets
it's
exhausting, dude.
very exhausting, right? Like, I don't
Well, you know what
I
it
don't know
is?
how to
They
I don't even
they
know how to verbalize it.
they feed you all these lies as a foundation. So you're getting fed lies, 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 lies. There comes to a point that when you hear the truth, your foundation is built on lies. It doesn't, unless you hear it from the mouthpiece, like the propaganda that whether it's Fox, CNN, they're all they're pitching their side, right? Um,
I think you hit the nail like on the head, right? Because when you say like, because I'm just thinking about everything you just said, and I'm like trying to digest it. Um, and going back to the like, is this gonna affect my business? Is like me saying what I believe. How is it gonna? How are like maybe my clients gonna take it, right? Like, because I have a lot of different clients, and I don't discriminate my clients based off where they come from, how they look, whatever, right? Like, if they're cool and they're willing to work with me, they're cool on the price, we vibe well, they're my client, and I will go to war with you, whether it be with the city, with the inspectors, whoever. um but
but you know what my real fear is in 20 years, 30 years, my grandkids going to school and learning about what's going on and coming to their grandpa and saying, "Grandpa, we learned about this. What were you doing at that time?" And me being able to look at them and say, "Oh, well, I was listening to PBD and he was saying that it was this," or "I listened to Tucker and he was saying that it's like, there's going to come that moment when your grandkids and your kids, even your kids, they're going to look at you and you're their hero. And what's his hero doing? Oh, he's thinking about the rent. He's thinking about the bills. He's thinking about, and that's where I feel like there's a lot of posts that say like, what would you do in World War II, or what would you do and like you're doing it now, and it's true, because a lot of us have that fear, of the disruption of, what if I lose everything by speaking out? What if this and what if that? You know, and it goes back to what is best for all of us. What's best for me is what's best for all of us, and what's best for all of us.
And I think also, I think one of the things that I keep in mind is, I think it's also like, and I thank God, right? And I thank my parents for coming to this country. And I'm really, I'm honestly really proud to be an American, bro. Um, but we have to remember, America was built by immigrants, and it's still being built by immigrants.
100%.
You can't go to a construction site, no matter how you paint yourself not talking about you directly, but like anybody, right? No matter how anybody paints themselves on Instagram that they're the builder, blah 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 blah. Like, yeah, you can be whoever, come from whatever race, come from whatever country. I bet like 90% of your workforce is either Mexican, Guatemalan, Salvadorian, like
Latino.
and Latino, bro, and they're there. And then, because I see some guys follow me, and I'll follow them back, or I'll see what they're posting. And some of these general contractors, and they'll post things like, oh, like, if you don't like it here, then go back to your country.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That's propaganda.
That's crazy. Like,
that's how it works.
Then, like, so you're telling me you have the balls to post it on Instagram, but I bet you won't have the balls to say that to 90% of your workforce.
Yeah.
Because they'll leave, right? But say it to your workforce, see how they feel,
Yeah, and that's the stuff that, that's the stuff that bugs me, and like you said, it's, at the end of the day, we all want what's best for our kids, and people need to understand that. I'm Mexican American. That doesn't mean that I'm not grateful for this country. Like, this country has given me so many opportunities, and I'm showing you I'm grateful because I'm taking them. People ask me, Danny, why don't you go start your business in Mexico? Or would your business be thriving in Mexico? I don't know. I've never started a business in Mexico, but I have a business here. Like, I don't go telling people, like, why don't you start your business in Slovakia? Or, Poland. I don't, like, why? Like, I'm here taking opportunities, just like your forefathers came to this country for a better life, for better opportunities. We're all on the same country. Like, we have it really good here, and we're destroying it. And people all over the world are looking at us laughing, because for so many years we've been number one, but we're destroying each other from within,
from the inside,
and everybody's looking at us just like this. And what are we doing?
What are you doing?
Like, why don't we do what's best for all of us? Everybody. I'm not talking about just Mexicans, Black, Asian, white. Let's do what's best for all of us, for our children, for our grandchildren. Like, let's come together, like, extend
embrace each other's,
embrace the
diversity, embrace each other's, like, whatever. Like I think a beautiful thing about this country, right, is that it's not like a religious state, right? It's a Muslim can live next to a Catholic, can live next to a Christian, can live next to an atheist, right? And there's no issues, right? Bro, you go down a Sunset, you'll start in Cesar Chavez, and you'll start in East LA. It's like Sunset basically starts where La Placita Olvera is, right? Then it goes through Little Armenia. It goes through Thai-Town, right? Like, and I don't know any other place in the world, and excuse my ignorance, right? But that you can go down a street and it looks like that. Why is it that other places in the world, like, that's such an issue, right? At least, yeah, okay, we have our problems here, but at least we're trying to embrace, and we should keep trying to embrace some of our differences and some of our diversity, right? Having said that too, I think we're both really grateful, right? Like your parents are from Mexico, my parents are from Mexico.
Mucho.
Yeah, like Puebla.
Oh, nice.
We understand that it's also being here, it's also a luxury to be able
God
to
bless.
be up to date on the news, be able to have time to look at YouTube and understand what's going on in the world. Like that's a luxury. It's a luxury to just like even be here and like talking to you. Um and people, I see people saying like, hey, just focus on your business and shut up and like
Don't
just
talk
work.
politics.
Just work. But like we need to have a little bit of a dialogue, right?
The problem with that is that if you don't care for politics, politics will eventually care for you.
Yeah.
So once it starts affecting us, that's when it's like, oh shit, like what's going on? And I feel like a lot of people are struggling, and a lot of people are mad because it's hard. Home ownership is hard. The living wages are hard. So I feel like it's
Everything's expensive.
everything's expensive. So you got to blame somebody for that. And that's the problem that I feel like we need to come together and say, no, what's really going on in our country? Like, where's the money going?
And I know, like, look, you're a business owner. Your business is going well. I'm a business owner. Like, we're kind of new to this, but like, we're on the way up, right? Like, I feel like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I go to the grocery store and I go to like Target, and I'm not too worried about how much something costs. And it could be easy for me to just be like, whatever, like
Yeah,
I like
put it in the bag.
yeah, just put it in the bag. I don't like it'll be okay,
Yeah,
but like you said, like
dude, when I went to
maybe
Carl's
it doesn't,
Jr., $20.
yeah, like maybe it doesn't affect us so much because now thankfully, like thanks to our parents who came here, we got like an education or educated ourselves, created our business, but it's affecting, like 99% of America.
Yeah, 99%.
99% of America isn't a business owner, or I don't know what the
And they don't
measurement
have
is,
to
but
be. They should be able. If you want to be a vet, if you want to work at Target, if you want to be a graphic designer, if you want to pursue art,
in the 70s you could be an assistant manager at whatever Walmart or like any of these big chain stores, and you could buy a house.
So we're all getting screwed. So we got to figure out how to come together. And it's important for me if people see this from another part of this country. I speak for myself, and I know you feel the same way. It's like we're very grateful to be here,
Yeah.
to take all the opportunities that we have in this great country. It's just our point of view, and I think it's important that we dialogue and we express ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Man to man, human to human, and hopefully we can show compassion to each other and empathy, and that's I think that's very important right now with everything going on.
I agree.
That we put ourselves in other people's positions, other people's shoes, and we take care of each other.
Yeah, and just do our best, bro. And
Yeah.
thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, no, thank you, and thank you guys for joining us. And that was a great talk. I know we kind of went off track.
Yeah,
but
cut some of
there's
that.
been a lot of stuff going on. So
Too long.
thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks, Danny. Thank you so much.
Yeah.